Welcome to the #1 Star Wars podcast. No, what's the name of this podcast again?
The greatest Star Wars podcast in the world.
The greatest Star Wars podcast in the world. Nah, fucking what I'm doing. Hey everyone, this is the something podcast, something greatest Star Wars podcast in the world. I actually considered changing that name, but whatever. We are here today with
Gotta roll with it now.
Yeah, Johnny Grasso.
What up?
We got Katie.
Hey.
Who was supposed to be on the last podcast, but you heard her kind of in the outtakes. And Jared.
Hello.
Oh, Katie, what is your Twitter? I mean, it'll be in the show notes or whatever they call it, but tell the people, what is your Twitter handle, whatever you want to call it?
It's @thisginger_KT.
This ginger_KT. Is the KT for KT?
Yeah.
Cool. And everyone knows Johnny Grasso, but what is your Twitter name, Johnny Grasso?
Johnny_Grasso14, and Johnny spelled with an H, JOHNNY _Grasso GRASSO14.
And what is your here the complex one, Jared? People still don't know why.
I grew up in the Southwest. Joaquin is not difficult for me. It's Joaquin slowly. It is JOAQUIN slowly. And it's at Twitter.
So not last week's, it was 2 weeks ago we had a podcast?
Yeah.
Hugely popular. We had so many new subscribers, I think 2. No, I don't know. I don't know how to read the feeds I don't know how to I don't know what any of it means. I don't know how many listeners we have. I also posted on YouTube, and I posted, there's all these ways that you can get it, and I can't read all the numbers. I'm just like, look, we either have 1,000 listeners, or we have 2. I'm not sure. I don't know how to read the numbers, the feed numbers.
We've at least got Richie, so.
We got Richie, yeah. At least Richie, and he emailed us. We're going to read that. We got Jared.
That's true. I do subscribe.
Yep.
I cheat.
Johnny also, I think. Johnny, I hope you subscribe to this podcast.
I don't even know the name anymore.
Oh, and greatest something blah blah. We should really shorten the name just to the greatest.
I thought Johnny legally had to subscribe to every podcast.
Yeah. Wait a minute. This is the only podcast you don't listen to. What is that? And
it's on the queue.
Katie, are you subscribed to this podcast?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure.
So the name is pretty ironic. The greatest Star Wars podcast in the world that no one subscribes to, including the people on it. I wanted to talk, first of all, I was not going to talk about this, but I really want to talk about this whole trailer talk that's been happening today, because it's happening today, and this is, right now we're recording on the 13th of October. This will be out on the 14th of October. By then, everything may have changed, but I want to touch on something, and then I'm going to let you guys, run with whatever you want to say, because Anthony Breznican, or how do they pronounce his name? Breznican?
Entertainment Weekly writer.
Right.
Very talented guy.
Very talented guy, and very believable. Like, everyone, when he says something, you believe it.
Well, he's a really nice guy, too.
Because he said something, and we will touch on that. But, I see this thing, and I don't want to take credit away from anyone or whatever, and that's why Jared and I covered this a month ago on our podcast, and we credited the person who mentioned first the possibility of it coming out right around the time of the pre-sales. And that was...
the 19th,
I
remember.
That was Jason Ward.
Yeah, I was just on This Is Madness with him a moment ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he said it on Force Friday. Credit goes to whomever, Star Wars 7 News or whoever said it. Great, you posted it on your website, but you also said I might be wrong. Jason Ward didn't say anything different, but he said it a month earlier. So I just want to, at least, if we're going to start saying all credit goes to them, well, then all credit goes to Jason because he said it first and he said it a month earlier. I just want to say we cited our source. There is evidence of it, and you know we're here to confirm that it was said. So, and he didn't make a big deal of it because that's I don't know. Like I think Jason just doesn't really want to cover it. I haven't heard the podcast that you guys just did with him.
It came up, but no, he. I think he doesn't want to speculate too much on it. You know, we talked more about whether or not it's necessary for Star Wars fans.
Because Star Wars fans already are going to go see the movie, and they don't need it right now. I actually agree with that on some level, but Johnny, go ahead.
On the date itself, I remember a while ago when Jason mentioned it, and, you know, just in summation, if you had to pick a date just based on when trailers come out for most movies, and then, you know, it's usually about 6 to 8 weeks out, which this would be.
Yeah.
As well as, you know, ticket sales go the 19th. So, you know, Disney's all about getting their $4 billion back. So if you had to pick a day to drop a trailer, you know, you want to get the fan base excited and you want to get them to go out or get online and purchase tickets, you drop the trailer right on that weekend.
So there was nothing brave in making this prediction by anyone, including Jason, and that's why he didn't even bother with it. So, like, he didn't go make a big thing. He didn't post it on his website or anything like that. But he did talk about it publicly in a Twitch stream that anyone could have been viewing at the time on Force Friday. You know, like, I already seen people throwing around like, oh, these guys got it right. Everyone was already talking about it before you posted an article about it. Again, I'm not trying to take credit away from these guys. I'm just saying everyone was already talking about it. This is not like when people were trying to predict the first teaser or the second, or what was going to happen at San Diego Comic-Con or at D23, which again, Anthony did tell people that there wouldn't be a trailer at those, and he was right about what was going to happen at those events, where other people were speculating differently. So we can trust him. He tweeted something, and it was kind of cute. You know, it was a BB8. He was saying like, oh, my assistant is set aside Monday. Well, we know that tickets are being ordered on Monday. He was kind of evasive about, you know, what that meant. And that's kind of, I don't know, like somebody else was saying that that's what he does. Well, he doesn't really play coy like that. Not in that way, if he knew something. So what I think is maybe he's heard that something is happening this weekend, and he was just covering his base saying like, hey, I've set aside Monday for it because I'm hearing something. I think that's a lot more likely than this idea that it's definitely coming out on 19th and he heard it, because I think if he heard that, he would tell us that.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Bresnahan, look, I mean, very talented writer. He definitely has, you know, a couple people at Lucasfilms that are looking out for him. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean everything the man says is gospel.
But I mean, if he were to come out, and this is my other point that I made today, was he doesn't work on a fan site. And I'm not taking anything away from fan sites. I ran one myself for several years. He has an employer. Okay, he doesn't run the site himself. He has an employer. Why would he play coy with the most important news on the damn internet? Why would he do that?
Well, I think you're onto something with the implication that it's about the tickets more than anything, because the next tweet he has that isn't a response to someone 2 hours after the little animation with BB-8 is him saying the nice thing about Twitter is nobody ever gets carried away.
Yeah.
If that's not a direct reference to everyone expounding that original tweet to say, that means the trailer's going to drop,
exactly.
You know, then I don't know what was. And that doesn't mean it's not coming Monday. Doesn't mean it's not coming Friday. You know, like, I feel like he is pretty trustworthy. I mean, in addition to writing the article and getting the interviews, he was the person who they selected to do the J.J. Abrams panel at Celebration. Yep. And he clearly has a good relationship through Entertainment Weekly with Lucasfilm. But that's why I don't think he would be spouting off cryptic nonsense.
Exactly.
It'd be an official story on the Entertainment Weekly website from them saying this is what our sources say. If they felt comfortable saying that, I don't think he's screwing with fans. I think people are reading too much into it, and we're all desperate for information. And last week he said he did not know about this trailer.
Yeah, and he also said I promise. He said I promise I will tell you when I know.
I think Johnny's right that he's not. He's not Lucasfilm, and he's not saying that he knows. So yeah. I think everybody's jumping the gun a little bit because we're all excited. And
exactly.
I get it.
If we have to wait another 2 weeks, like, you'll still be like excited, right?
I'll be excited no matter what. I feel like if anything, it's going to come out on a Thursday, because it always seems like stuff comes out on Thursdays, and it's always when I'm at school too, so it's like, damn it.
There was talk within kind of like whatever circles that it was going to drop on either the 1st or the 2nd or the 15th or the 16th. And for a while, that's been the talk, like for a long time. So when the date of the 19th came up, I think a lot of people went, 15th or 16th then. So I think it could come out. Now, right now, there is talk that, and I've seen it on Reddit, so it's already out there, that the announcement is going to happen on the 15th, and that we're actually going to get it on the 16th. So that would be a Friday. And unfortunately, no one else seems to know for sure, but there are definitely people who think that it's going to drop on the 16th. That actually makes sense, whereas dropping it on a Monday makes no sense.
I think they're definitely going to do something like that. Yes, and I'm with you. I think it's going to drop on the 16th because then it gives you the weekend to let it spread, to let social media explode with it. What was it? 88 million views in 24 hours, the first teaser?
I think that's a good point. They're going to let it get to be the #1 teaser again to surpass the other one.
Going on pre-sale today. You know, people have been saying like usually these things drop on Tuesday or whatever, and Lucasfilm's been doing it a little differently, and they didn't announce the first teaser until, like a day before?
Part of that, it feels like everyone's not remembering that plan changed publicly. But they said that it wasn't going to go online until after it was already in the theaters, and then they were like, "Oh no, people aren't going to like that. They're going to pirate it," and they changed their mind.
It still looks like it can happen on a Friday midday. Let it build. Everyone's excited, leaving work for the weekend, spread over the weekend, get 100 million views. Monday the 19th happens. Sell 100 million pre-sales at $10 plus,
break Fandango.
Quarter.
Yeah, break Fandango.
Get a quarter of your money back immediately. You know, the mouse isn't stupid, guys.
Why wouldn't you do exactly? Why wouldn't you do it that way? And that's why all these other suppositions by people, they're based on what fans think makes sense, not what a marketer thinks makes sense. That's why I haven't believed the information apparently that Star Wars 7 put out, which was that it was going to happen on the 19th. I've always said that just doesn't make any sense. Why?
It's not even logic. It's it's without data behind your argument. It's just an opinion, and everyone has an opinion. Yeah. Like we might be, just 4 people in a small podcast, even though it's the greatest Star Wars podcast in the world. But we're still like making our opinions. And we're backing it with data, like from past. Actions and experiences through Lucasfilm, Disney, what have you.
I think you're right. And it's because we're trying to make an informed opinion that we're not making any big claims. We feel like we have a pretty good idea. We think there's a really good shot they're going to announce it Thursday and show it Friday, but we're also not saying like we bet our life savings and everyone we hold dear over it,
Well, maybe we should though. Maybe that's what we should do. Not for this, for episode 8, I think we should start a website which is like bet. You like put money down on your predictions because this has gotten a little bit silly because I was saying this today on Twitter.
FanDuel with Star Wars.
Kind of like, put your money where your mouth is. Because I was saying this, what happens if they're all wrong? All the people who say it's going to be the 19th, what happens? Nothing. People will forget about it in 2 weeks and they'll just go right back to believing everything they say. There seems to be no repercussions for being wrong.
They'll bitch on Reddit.
That's it, but no one, fucking Reddit bitches about everything, so, And that's a small community in the grand scheme of things. If there's 2,000 people on Reddit bitching about you, there's 2 million who don't have any clue Reddit exists. And that's why these sites go around and they just say anything. I'm not saying the Star Wars 7 News made it up, or I think they have a source who's using an educated guess. But if it turns out that it comes out on the 19th, then I'm wrong and they're right. And, I've been saying, I'll fucking manipulate them with my hand. If that's what it comes down to. I apologize for vulgarity, but that's what I'm saying. Like I'm.
No, vulgarity's awesome.
I'm so confident that that's wrong. That's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying that I know it's wrong. I'm just very confident that they're not going to do it that way just because it doesn't make any sense to me. And then here's the other thing. The Vanity Fair thing that we were going to transition to, that JJ said he has Final Cut. And it's been really interesting watching other people talk about that. Because it's clear he says he has Final Cut. And then he almost tries to dismiss it, like saying, no, I'm trying to get to another point. But he's saying, I have Final Cut, boys. I am JJ effing Abrams. and I have final cut over Disney right now. They're not going to mess with me. Yeah, sure, they could if they wanted to, but they're not going to because that's how much they trust me. Kennedy has all the faith of Disney, and they're not telling her what to do. She's running Lucasfilm, which is why it always bothers me when people say Disney's Star Wars. It is Lucasfilm's Star Wars. And unfortunately, we're going to have some emails that reference Disney's Star Wars. JJ has that final cut. That's why we're not getting the trailer any sooner. Because JJ gets to also say when his footage gets shown. I think what's important is there are a lot of people for a very long time were saying, well, he has to answer to Disney. And he put the nail in the coffin on that when he said, Kennedy runs Lucasfilm, she runs Star Wars. She is the head honcho right now in Star Wars and probably on Indiana Jones and whatever, and Willow 3 and whatever, whatever comes down the pipeline.
Please let there be Willow 3.
Oh my God. Well, first we probably need 2. But maybe they'll shoot them together. But
they did do a book series sequel.
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that always bothers me about people who talk about Legends and get really upset about Legends, and I read a couple of the Legends books, but I never really cared that much about it, so I should say that right up front, but is that Kennedy came in and she was like, okay, that really sucks for you Legends fans, because for the longest time we were like, it's canon, it's not canon, whenever we wanted to. Well, now it's all going to be canon. We're sorry you went down that path. This is Legends, you can still enjoy it, but from here on in everything's going to be canon. And I really think that Legends fans should have just been like, hey, we got dicked around a little bit by George for a while, but now Kennedy's coming in, and for the rest of my life, everything's going to be canon. That's the proactive way to go about that. And so Kennedy is the master of this whole story.
Well, I think that's really prolific and just awesome of her. Like having grown up with comic books in the shared universe, the idea of it expanding, across all of these different mediums is so appealing to me, because never has a comic book TV show, or movie has it been intended to be in the same universe as the books. Right. They're always an adaptation. They're always a new version. And that was always the inverse with the Star Wars books. I know the EU was supposed to be canon when it started, but once the prequels came around and contradicted them, and even more so when the Clone Wars came out and contradicted them, even and all this small minutia, it became clear that they were always an adaptation of George's work. Right. And that's always how he saw them. I think he even said so explicitly many times.
And he adapted other people's stuff, and brought characters in that were from the Legend stuff. So
yeah, he included Quinlan Voss in mention in Attack of the Clones because he liked the stories that John Ostrander and Jan Duursema made so much, and that's cool. He read comic books, Star Wars comic books, and was like, "This guy's great. I should mention him in the movie, and make him count or whatever." That's really cool. And yeah, I just think it's so neat to me, as the little kid in me imagines, being able to read a book and a comic and the movie and the cartoon and it all building to the same story. It's really ambitious and interesting, and it's what this kind of cross-media stuff's all been building to, I think.
Yeah, listen, all Disney is a bank. They invested in a product, they loan them the money, and they want to see a return on their investment. Yep. That's all they care about. Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, who's been George's right-hand woman, girl power, is running the show. We're all, the story group is shaping where this Star Wars universe is going, and Disney can care less if Luke has a clone or if
I don't know about that, because Iger is kind of invested in. I believe that Iger is a fan.
I think he's a fan. Yeah. But he's not calling up Kennedy and being like, "Look, no. I really like Grand Admiral Thrawn. Can you put him in Episode 8?"
No,
I don't disagree. I don't think he's stepping on the story group's toes at all.
Absolutely not.
I don't think he's walking in that room. I think he's dealing with the budgets. I think he's dealing with big ideas.
But that's his $4 billion, and he's watching it. He's watching that $4 billion.
He's counting.
Which they already made back in toy sales.
Essentially, they've already made that.
I wonder. Back. I can't wait. I wonder.
No, they have. Over the years, I read a statistic on just lightsaber sales last year, plus the Force Friday. They've already made the $4 billion back.
Yeah.
This is just
we're already
awesome.
In profit.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is what Iger's talked about: the $4 billion movie, as they like to call it, is because if this doesn't work, it will torpedo everything else. So it's working right now because the movie hasn't come out yet. What happens when this is like the same thing that happened with Phantom Menace, even though I think all of us enjoyed Phantom Menace, but After Phantom Menace came out, it was like people were like, "What?"
When the Phantom Menace came out, and obviously I was old enough to see it in theaters and get excited. I was, old enough to drive there. When that came out, people, it was sold. The prequel trilogy was sold was like the story of Darth Vader and how he came to be.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, "Yes, a young Obi-Wan." Yeah. Oh God, the first poster, right?
shadow.
And then, and it was all chilling. The first trailer, awesome.
Yeah.
But then when people actually sat down and watched the movie, and in my opinion, I think a lot of them got turned off by the fact that, the young Darth Vader wasn't like an angry Leonardo DiCaprio 21-year-old chopping people up with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
That it was a 9-year-old innocent boy, and it was going to take a while for him to turn. People wanted to see that angry helmetless Darth Vader immediately.
Yeah.
Just like today, and not that I read, and it's been well documented that I don't read, but when Aftermath first came out, the idea of Aftermath first came out, they said it was going to bridge the gap from Jedi to The Force Awakens. So everyone, even though it wasn't said, assumed, oh my God, the big three. What happened next? Okay, they're parting with some evil rat bastard Ewoks on Endor, and then they're going to have to form a new republic, and then Leia's going to do this, and Han, and they're going to get married. And the next thing you know, Aftermath comes out, and like they're barely mentioned in the book. Yeah. And people are like, wow, and their sales kind of go, and they get bumped.
The thing is, I'd love to respond to that with something else, but since we're not a spoiler podcast, I can't say what else. But it would be really funny to see people overhype in their minds what's going to happen in The Force Awakens, and then be severely disappointed by it. And I wonder if we're going to get the same reaction from 40-year-olds or 45-year-olds as they had when they were 28 or 30 when they saw Phantom Menace. I do wonder about that. We're not going to get into specifics of that, but that will be really interesting because I think that some people are already setting themselves up to be disappointed by the movie no matter how good it is. Because I kind of look at 2009 Star Trek, which I love, and I just rewatched all of JJ's movies. I think it's such a fun movie, and I'm a Trek fan, so it didn't bother me, it didn't, but I'm more of a Star Wars fan, but it didn't bother me that it was more action-y and all that stuff. But there are fans out there who think it's like is worse than Jar Jar, like they think it's so horrible. And they even call him, him Jar Jar Abrams. That's how they refer to him.
Yeah, I mean, if J.J. Abrams was to make a Roddenberry-type Star Trek film in 2009, it would look more like Interstellar. And I don't know if you saw Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. I mean, it was a solid...
Oh, sorry. I fell asleep thinking about Interstellar.
J.J. Abrams was to make a Roddenberry-type Star Trek movie. It would look more like Interstellar. Yeah. Or maybe, best case scenario, Matt Damon's The Martian, which is out now.
Which is fun. Yeah, no, that would have been a great Interstellar. Martian, I've seen it, and if Interstellar was as much fun as The Martian, I would have loved it.
And that's what those hardcore I grew up in the 1960s watching on television Star Trek fans wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted the science explained. Well, I'm sorry, in 2015, all that science is explained in about 3 creative camera shots, and then you have to have an entertaining story to tell. And that's why J.J. Abrams is a genius, because he can take and he can show you an interesting, exciting story.
And I, like I said, I just watched all of JJ's movies. Like I watched them all, and even some of the 2 Lost episodes he's directed. And I was watching okay, let's see, how he progresses as a director. And Into Darkness is like, I mean, I don't really like that movie too much, but it's okay. But visually and all that stuff, it's fantastic. And the same thing with Super 8. Not a great movie, but I know you hate it, but I think it's okay as a movie. But what it is it's like the Spielberg visuals in that. It's like a Spielberg movie. It's beautiful. It's like a bad Spielberg movie.
You say a Spielberg film. I think of Super 8 as kind of like his homage to E.T.
Yeah.
E.T. for the most part is a pretty slow developing movie, but it's just so amazing with the boy Elliot and the E.T. the extraterrestrial. Their dynamic and chemistry on screen and the heartfelt story, that makes sense, and I get that, and that's what Super 8 tried to be. I understand, But I don't know if I would, when trying to figure out if J.J. Abrams is going to make a good Star Wars film, that's not the movie I would go to. I would go to Star Trek, like you said, 2009
Well,
Star Trek.
or Mission Impossible 3, which I think is his best directed movie. If you watch that again, that was his first feature film, too. That he directed.
Was that the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Yes.
Great movie.
Yeah, watch that movie. If you want to see what I think Star Wars might kind of look like at times, watch Star Trek 2009 and then Mission Impossible 3. You will get a very... Actually, even Into Darkness, because I think you can see an evolution of how he directs, a very dynamic movement of the camera that he does that you already saw in that San Diego Comic-Con reel.
While I'm not a huge fan of Into Darkness overall, I felt like it leaned too much on old Star Trek films, and it just didn't stand on its own as much as any of his other movies. But I do think the action sequences in that were a lot of fun and were, like you said, very dynamic. Like that action scene on the top of the vehicle or paddy wagon as they're flying through is it San Francisco or whatever? That was awesome. Like that.
Yeah, as my review of that movie, it was put lightsabers in everyone's hands, and it's a great movie.
That scene at the beginning with Sulu, he clearly meant to have a lightsaber. He was holding a handle that then made a sword come out of it. That's JJ's closest
Come
thing.
on, it's clear. It's clear.
Well, I liked what he did with, like, I liked the Star Trek and then Into Darkness. I actually like both of those. Like, I think those will be like the best examples to see what like he'll do with The Force Awakens.
Right. Like once you add a lightsaber to Into Darkness, that movie is amazing.
Yeah, then it's perfect.
What was the next thing I wanted to talk about? Do we want to talk about the podcast that we've been listening to this week? Anything that you guys are... Katie, any podcasts you've been listening to lately, or your favorite podcast or anything?
Well, I've been listening to Rebel Girl, and now this is podcasting, but I'm like really behind on all of them. With like school and stuff, I've just been getting behind, so...
Oh, so you haven't heard like the latest Tracy and Amanda fight? You didn't hear about that? Oh, no, it didn't happen.
Oh, are you talking about the 10th episode?
They have 10 episodes?
They did their 10th episode.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You know what?
Some fan you are.
Wait a minute. No, I should know this because the last episode...
I sent in a review after the second episode and it still hasn't shown up.
Yeah, I actually had to rewrite mine. I don't know why. I put like a word in there that apparently iTunes doesn't like. I think it was like bastards or something like that. I put in there and it wouldn't let me, so I had to redo it.
I might say badass too much.
Yeah. You have to take that out. You have to take it out. So you have to redo the review.
Actually, no, iTunes got in touch with me, and they didn't appreciate that you wrote, "I'm coming for you, Johnny Grasso." So
I did write that.
And said they were going to take care of that for me. And I was like, no, it's fine. We're friends.
I did write that.
That explains Magnus.
I did write that. That's actually true. I hate even asking Johnny what podcast he's listening to because I know it's going to take 15 minutes.
All of them. All the podcasts.
All of them. Okay, that's a good coverage.
I was basically on Star Wars Expose episode 2 recently.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, you mentioned me once.
Yeah, I'm glad I definitely mentioned you.
Once.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Next time I'm
No.
I'm going to open the middle and close with you.
No. Your answer should have been, "Oh no, you got taken out in the edit." That's what you should have said, not confess that you only mentioned me once.
No, but when he asked me about what podcasts, I put this one right at the top of the list.
Yes, you did.
I heard
and
it.
I even gave your Twitter handles.
I noticed.
The only person I let down was Katie, because I was like, and Katie, but I didn't have her Twitter memorized.
Come on, it's...
Ginger girl something.
Ginger... KT.
It's this ginger
this
underscore
ginger
KT.
underscore
Come on,
KT.
guys.
Oh, this ginger underscore KT. Oh, look, we're never going to forget it now. This ginger underscore KT. Okay.
I can hear Jared thumbing through his phone now, so I don't want to hear that.
My phone is charging and out of my hands.
Yeah, that's what she said. It was an interesting.
He works hard.
Yeah, no,
very well produced.
You can tell that he definitely produces that thing. Like this podcast, no fucking production value whatsoever. I'll put a little music.
There's no background music today.
No. There will be. I do it in post.
Yeah, I don't think you read my contract. Johnny Grasso has to have intro music.
No. The intro music for this podcast, you don't know it because it hasn't happened yet, but it will in an hour. Is the song that I played in the last podcast that was in the outro.
Oh no!
I mean the outtakes is gonna open up this podcast. the greatest whatever it was, and you correcting me. So that's now gonna forever is gonna be the intro
one
to
that
our
was
podcast.
in the outtakes.
I did that podcast, and on it, he asked me, what podcasts I listen to. So, I rattled off, a good chunk of 10. But one of the things that he was a very good interviewer, One of the things he asked me was like, how do you choose what's good and what's not? So basically what's going to happen very soon is they're going to drop the trailer for Star Wars Episode 7. And what we should do is, or what I told people to do, was wait till everyone is covering the same content. Every podcast is going to talk about the trailer. And then you can compare apples to apples and find out what Star Wars podcast or what few Star Wars podcasts are for you.
That's not fair though, because we will win.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have Katie. So
Katie's here. Down. Katie. Once you have Katie, that's it. That's money right there.
It's spiking the ball, man.
How about you, Jared? I know you also listen to like every podcast on the planet.
I do listen to a ton.
Yeah, we mentioned This Is Madness. We mentioned
let's see, what else?
Coffee with Kenobi got mentioned by
everybody.
Yeah, so
I got one. While Jared's looking, Steel Wars is something I didn't mention last time. That is someone as a podcast that I listen to frequently that was recommended to me in person by Dom from Star Wars Underworld.
Ooh.
Steel is actually a really cool guy as well.
Yeah.
I got the pleasure of meeting him with Dom and the MSW guys over at San Diego. And yeah, Steele's a really cool guy, really funny. He's a comedian in Australia as well as a podcaster. And
yeah. I don't think we mentioned him, so I wanted to.
No, we definitely didn't. Yeah, we definitely didn't.
I know I mentioned Brews and Blasters last time, which I really enjoy.
Yes,
and Johnny, you mentioned Idiot's Array.
Yep.
Yeah, they're new. Idiot's
Um,
Array comes from Cantina Cast.
Yeah.
And they're about 10 in.
The Mos Eisley Underground is with Katrina Dennis.
I don't think we mentioned that one.
And Jeremy Conrad with a K, and Jonah, which is really a lot of fun.
I miss Jonah.
Let's see,
I miss Jonah.
We mentioned Rebels Report. I'm trying to think if there's anything I didn't mention.
We did mention ForceCast.
Children of the Force is a lot of fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think it's at Force Children on Twitter. I have to look that up as well. But it's Al Watsky and his kids, and it's a lot of fun. Where they just talk about Star Wars, and occasionally they'll have neighbor kids on as well.
Like young kids?
Yeah, no, his like school age children, like in grade school, and it's awesome. Like I know I've heard Saf on Twitter and Jonah both talk a lot about kids' opinions kind of being ignored and all this discussion of the future of Star Wars. And it's actually really cool to hear what they think about it. And it's something I get to hear in my everyday life with my niece and nephew, but to hear kids, around the country who are really excited about the new movie and about Rebels, it's cool to hear their interpretation.
I love actually hearing what kids have to say about Star Wars like now. And like whenever I talk to kids, like my cousins all have kids now, when I talk to them about Star Wars, like I'm always like, all right, tell me what is your favorite, like, because they all know what Star Wars is. They don't all love it like we did.
Yeah, he's at Force Children on Twitter, and the podcast is called Children of the Force, and it's on iTunes and everything, and I highly recommend it.
Now, Johnny Grasso, I was watching him on Periscope this weekend, whatever. And
Saturday.
Did you just open up a Skittles? All right.
You hear that?
I hear it. So you were at New York City Comic Con. I should have been there. I live much closer to it than you do. And I didn't go. But you were there, and why don't you tell us about your journey to New York City Comic Con 2015?
So I went there. I missed my train. So I tried to get there for the Del Rey panel.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed it. So I got there around 3 o'clock. And, I had a great time. I saw the Her Universe panel. I got to meet. And when I say meet, I was like 3 feet from him. I shook his hand and said, "Thank you, Dave Filoni." That was amazing. He was nice. Yeah, he was really nice and sweet and generous with everyone in the hallway. And anyone who wanted to come up and take a picture, he took. And and I got to meet Dom from Star Wars Underworld, Chris from Star Wars Underworld. I got to meet the Jedi News guys. They were cool. I got to meet Star Wars autograph guy. I forget his name, but that's like his Twitter, his thing. He collects Star Wars autographs, and he's got this huge like website dedicated to it. It's very cool. I got to meet Andy, who is Canadian fanboy.
Yeah, he does Rebels Report.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Wait, you said the Jedi News guys. You mean the British guys?
Yeah, dude, they were there.
Oh, I didn't know they were there. Okay.
They were like, "Hello, Johnny Grasso. How are you?" I was like, "Dude, you totally know who I am." He was like, "Hello."
Of course awesome. I know. Of course I know. No, I read their site every day. They're actually like my second go. Like I go to Making Star Wars, and then I go to their site, and I've been doing that for a long time.
You're huge in England. You're huge in Europe.
Johnny Grasso.
Yeah, I reach across the pond, man.
That's right.
So then, and then I also saw Mike Audette, who works obviously with those guys as well. And last but not least, I found my podcast princess, Jonah Marie Macias.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
don't know if you guys saw it on Periscope.
Yeah, I watched all your Periscope, so I saw.
Yeah, I watched most of it live, but I was trying to help out a little bit with my niece and nephew over the weekend, so. Some of it I was not able to watch live. I had to watch later.
Yeah, I watched. Well, I watched that one twice because it was so funny. Because you were also with
Julia. I almost forgot. And
Julia.
then my
you
my right
almost
hand,
forgot.
I almost forgot. Well, because I like literally like because she was my right hand woman.
Yeah,
she has a new
day.
Twitter handle too. If you want to follow her on Twitter, it's supervillainist.
Supervillainist. Yeah, she's an interesting human being. She was a wild one.
So tell us, start with you, Jared, and then you, Ultra. So what did you think of the whole periscoping thing? Because that was my first time, like, really. I did a little bit on Force Friday.
Well, I really enjoyed just watching her personality and the way she reacted to you. There's some hilarious things. I don't know if your Periscope is still up. I don't know if how long they stay up.
Well, it's that you can find the third one on my Twitter feed. So if someone's listening and wants to check it out, I posted a link to it on my Twitter feed, so you can still maybe get it from there.
Like, I never imagined that anyone would ever steal the show from Johnny Grasso, but at times she kind of does.
No, absolutely.
I couldn't have done it without her. I mean, I can't exist in a sausage fest. Like, I need women around to
That's what I've been saying about this podcast. We need like 6 women for every one guy. Katie, can you make 3 of you?
I mean, I can try, but...
Aren't you going to college for cloning?
Yeah, definitely.
We need some Kamino shit up in here.
We need you to Kamino the shit out of this podcast.
No, all I have to add for the Periscope, Johnny, was that because Magnus pretty much nailed it. You guys were funny. You and Julia were both really, really fun to watch. It was like we were there, and it was like it was at a party or whatnot. And the only thing I have to add is I was super jealous of you guys that you guys got to be there, and I missed being there with you.
And I was a fool for not going. And I could have.
Yeah, you screwed up. I couldn't.
I could have hung out with Jonah Marie. I mean, that's the only thing I thought about the entire time. I was like, I could have hung out with Jonah Marie. Like, what an idiot I am. I'm kind of starstruck with Jonah Marie. When she was on the podcast, like, I pretended like I was good, but I wasn't. I was like, oh my God, Jonah Marie. No, I would have been fine. I'm very good at faking that I'm okay. It was just so much fun, like, seeing everybody there. And
yeah, there was definitely like a lot of there was definitely a lot of build up towards the Jonah Marie like part. Obviously,
your search for Jonah Marie was one of the entire Periscope.
Yeah.
And the Rex thing, like, what's really funny about that is I had thought about that. I was looking for a Rex helmet. I was like, well, if we end up going to see Star Wars, The Force Awakens in December, I want to get a Rex helmet in case we're going to go to a showing where Jonah Marie is or something. And I thought that would have been a really fun idea, like somebody wear the Rex helmet, But then you thought of it, so. Yeah,
well, it was right in front of me, and I was like, wow, I can put that on. That would be pretty funny.
That would have been awesome. And I actually loved the costumes that group was wearing.
But Jonah Marie did not disappoint in real life. She is intelligent, sweet, kind, very giving. I definitely can't wait to see her again. So, Jonah, if you're listening, you're the best. Thank you for a great day.
Aww. She is the best. I haven't met her, but, just done a podcast with her.
Well, I can confirm. She's awesome. Totally the best.
Yeah. Yeah, as I tweeted after we did our podcast, everyone needs a Jonah Marie in their life. Makes your life better. Katie, did you watch Johnny's Periscope?
No, I wasn't able to. I was at work all day Saturday, so I wasn't able to see it. I was really bummed out because I was like really excited to see everyone live tweeting from it.
All right, so basically my Comic-Con came down to 3 elements. I walked the floor and just soaked in the atmosphere, which was amazing. I stopped by and I actually came within like 3 feet of Chuck Wendig.
Ooh,
and
cool.
if you want to hear that story, you've got to tune in to Making Star Wars. Now, this is podcasting episode 100 because I'm drafting my segment now and it's mentioned in there, so I kind of have to reserve that story for them.
Oh, okay.
Well, they should have listened to that anyway.
And then so I did that. I walked the floor and you just get bombarded with pop culture. I went to the Her Universe panel, which was really about them doing their own series of books for tween girls, like I guess 9 to 12.
Well, they actually said that they are also doing adult books too. So, but that's their focus is tween girls. But
Yeah.
they're also looking to expand, and do adult books and even younger and all. They want to do everything.
Yes, and then after that panel, Ashley Eckstein and Dave Filoni was there on the panel because he did the artwork for their first book, and they were in the hallway, and you had people like they were just regular people in the hallway. They were just so giving and kind, and I don't get really starstruck. Ashley's definitely cool. Dave Filoni, I'm very impressed with as an artist. His art is kind of like amazing, next level type shit.
And he's he's like Lucas.
He's his protege.
He is.
They worked together. Yeah. They worked together for 8 years. They worked day in and day out
and
for like
still
3
talk.
years.
They still talk.
They're bros.
And he said it in earshot to me, and he said it publicly that each director of the Star Wars films has had a meeting with him and discussed stuff with him.
Yeah.
Because, they don't want to watch 6 seasons of the Clone Wars. They're going to call up Filoni and be like, hey, I just need to know if this is okay. Does this make sense? Is this guy still alive? And he'll be like, yeah, dude, you're good.
Yeah.
But I got to thank him personally. I just said, hey, Dave, nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Shook his hand. He was like, oh, no problem, man. And then everyone else was like taking pictures. They were just really chill and cool. But then the highlight of my evening was then hanging out in that hallway with everybody, with Jedi News, with Andy, with Mike, with Jonah Marie, with Dom from Star Wars Underworld, with Julia, and it was just a great time. And then even later, Julia and Dom and I went out to dinner, and we had a great time, and I feel really close to all those guys, and it was just an amazing experience. And next year, Ultra, we are all going. I'm going to go all 4 days.
All 4, yeah.
I actually already talked to Randy. I think it was actually through Periscope, so you can all witness it. I could have gotten I could have gotten a 4-day press pass. Who knew?
Well, they would have had to apply it a long time ago, and
what though?
They didn't know. It's not your fault,
you
man.
kind of forget this stuff too, because I had the same problem when I had my fan site. And I completely forgot about it. And then we had to go through this whole process. And I was like, oh, my God, I didn't even think about this. And we were like, it was such a pain in the ass to try to do it at the last second. So what else was happening over there, Johnny Grasso? After, there was no, drunkery. There was no fighting. Nothing.
No fighting.
Wow.
I mean, there was.
because I was in there.
Oh, I also saw Mike Pappas from IGN, who's a big friend of
Mike Pappas.
the Twitterverse, Making Star Wars family.
Love that
He
guy.
works over. A great guy. I forgot. He was actually. Here's a funny story. Now, please, I might sound pompous a little bit here, but when I was walking my mile from Penn Station to the Javits Center, I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if there's a Making Star Wars listener who might recognize me here. And I'm thinking it, and I'm like, there's no way. But then I was like, you never know. So the second I get within 100 yards of the Javits Center, I hear, Grasso! Johnny Grasso! And then I hear, the accent. Like he's doing my voice or Randy's voice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, it happened. And then and it's a biker scout, and he takes off the biker scout helmet, and and Mike and I chat, on Twitter publicly and privately through DM. So
Yeah.
when he took off his helmet, I knew exactly who he was, and I was like, Mike, what's up? And then to make sure, like, I was like, I didn't know IGN was here, and he's like, no, I don't really have anything going, but I'm here as a fan, and it was great. So it literally, that was probably like my coolest moment in my life.
Wow. Yeah, I saw the picture.
Dude, he's a stud.
How many girls did you get numbers from?
None. I was all about Jonah and Julia, and they had 100% of my attention each.
100% of your attention each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny doesn't do 50-50. He does 100-100. Okay, he always keep it 100.
Which is a mathematical impossibility.
What? Do you even know Johnny Grasso?
He is more than just a man, so.
Yeah. What the fuck? Man, Jared. Man, I thought you were his boy. Sorry, Johnny. I apologize for Jared's behavior. And
100% support Johnny and the laws of physics. Thermodynamics.
I was there for one reason, and that was to embrace my Making Star Wars extended family, and that's what I was there for, and that's what I did. However, there was this like Darth Maul cosplayer that I almost broke my neck snapping around.
What?
And oh my god, it was like, I don't know if she was doing the Sith witch thing, or all I remember is half naked and red and amazing, and I snapped my neck around. And I went to turn to follow, and then like Julia looked at me, and then I just kept walking to Julia.
Katie, I need your judgment. I need your judgment of Johnny Grasso right now. Tell him what he did wrong. Tell Johnny Grasso what he did wrong with the Sith witch.
You should have kept your attention on Julie, not that girl. Don't do that. No, I'm just kidding. You do what you want.
Yeah. So if like Johnny and I are walking the floor, what you're saying is, like, I'm an asshole if I look at some other super buff dude? Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Listen, when I'm with Johnny Grasso, you'll see this when we go see The Force Awakens together. I'm just gonna be like, my eyes are gonna be deep in Johnny Grasso's eyes while Johnny Grasso watches the movie. I will watch the movie through Johnny Grasso's eyes.
All right, that was a bad example then. So like, if Magnus, if you and I were walking down a Comic-Con together, you and I wouldn't have to stare at each other's eyes. That's a specifically Johnny thing.
Why?
That's just not. There's only one Johnny Grasso.
Well, and that's really interesting. This is actually a good transition for us because we have
Julia's on the line.
Well, no,
we have
Julia. No. So when he was like, "Oh, I'm with Julie," I was like, "Oh, okay." So we're gonna see what she looks like. When I saw her, I was like, "Oh, Tracy's there?" She was also saying, "Hey, Tracy," or something like that, and I was like, "Wait, what?" I was so confused. And then like you kind of get like, because the phone is moving all around, and then we get a view of her. I was like, "Oh no, it's not. They're like Sith sisters." You know what I'm saying? Like they could be like cousins.
I actually addressed that similar notion in my email to Rebel Girl.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you agree with me then?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, yeah. I mean, attitude even.
I think that's what it is more than anything. I think that they clearly are of a similar mind on many things, and they have very similar attitudes.
Yeah. Oh, we wanted to read emails though. Should I take Richie's email because it's the longest?
Yeah, go ahead. Start it off.
All right, I'm feeling faint right now just thinking about reading this email. Richie J, who is Johnny Grasso's friend, sent us a nice little email, and I want to read it. Hey, I especially love Johnny Sexy's voice over his device that must have been provided by Cricket Wireless. I would love the opportunity one day to add to your show with my views of the Star Wars universe.
He'd be a great addition.
While being accompanied by the auditory sounds of pop rocks in my mouth. I'm gonna stop doing that. I was turning myself on. I gotta stop.
It's helpful advice from John. You're too sexy.
Pop rocks in my mouth. What an addition that would be to go along with Jared's belching and Johnny's sexy Skittles. I agree. Magnus, are you lactose intolerant? I am not. I'm not allergic to shit. I'm a perfect human being. Thank you for asking. You enjoying a delicious bowl of Rice Krispies? I do not eat cereal and I do not drink milk. Thank you very much. Would provide the necessary overture. It would, but I can't do that. I apologize. So we can never do that. But what else is crunchy, guys? What else is healthy and crunchy? Healthy and crunchy. Apple?
Granola.
Oh, granola? That's not healthy, Johnny. What the fuck are you talking about? It's got like 400 calories for a handful. No, I'll eat
Work out.
Apple, 80 calories. I'm going to eat an apple. So I agree. And we actually talked about doing a podcast where we would all eat as he reaches for his Skittles. I especially can't leave out Jonah Marie, who's not here, but she will always be here with us in spirit because every podcast now starts with her laughing at me. Wait a minute, I just thought about that. She's laughing at me playing guitar and singing. I just thought about that. Whose vocals alone is enough to make Johnny curl in a fetal position. I noticed on the feed. Suck his thumb and drool in rainbow-colored delight from Skittles he paused to swallow when she speaks. Keep up the good work. That wasn't even a question, Richie. That was like the whole thing. And then here's the question. It's the shortest question. My question for you guys. I actually love this question. My question for you guys is, would you like to see Old Republic movies made? I am fascinated with the Old Republic, and there is so much story to tell. Your thoughts? I want to see, Katie, did you ever partake in the Old Republic games, the world of the Old Republic?
No, I didn't.
I felt like this was probably going to be a question for us old folks. Johnny, he's your buddy. You take it first.
That's Revan, right?
Yeah. I mean, KOTOR and...
Knights
right.
of the
That's
Old
what he means.
Republic.
That's what he means, right? By Old Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see, and I think you can do it in the anthologies or the Star Wars stories. I wouldn't mind if the people want Revan, like a Revan origin story. Let's give it to them. You know, like if people want, and then just expand it to the expanded universe. If they want a Grand Admiral Thrawn story, give it to them. As long as it doesn't mess with the Star Wars trilogies and their standalone films, give it to them. It's what they want, and it's a good story. Awesome.
Especially, you're talking about something set 4,000 years before, the current movies. So why you could do anything with them.
My one concern, I mean, I know they're like thousands of years before, but I feel like that almost does tie their hands, because then if they put those in the new canon in the films, then they're saying that 8,000 years ago technology was exactly the same. Technology's never progressed in the Star Wars universe. It's static, and it always will be, because that's the situation you're in. Otherwise, you have them in a tribal world, and then you have to. I feel like you're.
Well, you could do that. You could go that far back where before lightsabers. I mean, I guess you could do that.
And that's my one concern. I don't think there's anything wrong with that choice. It's just I'm curious to see if Lucasfilm wants to set anything
not now.
That definite.
No,
not
now.
And I have no objection to it. I don't think there's any detriment to that. I almost think it adds to this space fantasy level to me, because I hear people complain about that in reference to the Knights of the Old Republic, that it makes it all static like that. Yeah. But it's the same thing in every fantasy world we live in. They talk about Lord of the Rings, they talk about, even in Game of Thrones, how it's this millennia-long history where it's always been the same. And we have no problem with that in an antiquated world where it doesn't progress past where we actually have progressed past. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it in sci-fi. So while I have no personal attachment to Revan, I'm sort of like in the camp Johnny had, where there's no harm in it. If there's a real demand for it, I don't see anything wrong with a Netflix miniseries if they do go that route ever, or an anthology film.
It's just, you could do so much, but I don't think they would do it anytime soon. I think they're going to stay in the realm of the original trilogy world moving forward. I don't think they're going to do too many prequels unless they're associated with original trilogy world. Like anything to do with from A New Hope on, or right before A New Hope, as we're getting with Rogue One. I don't think they're going to do too much with it. And then, the Han movie, but that's, again, related to the original trilogy.
Right.
I think we're going to get a lot of that, or at least the next few movies are going to be really focused on that. And then once they have you hooked, then they'll start doing their phase 2 and phase 3, just like Marvel did. And there's a question in there, actually, so it's easy.
Easy J's.
You want to read that one, Katie?
All right. Do you think Disney would make movies set during the Clone Wars, or are they too scared to touch the prequel world? Will they ever make prequel anthology movies, or are we just going to get movies set near the original trilogy and beyond? I think at some point they will. I mean, like you were saying a little bit ago, I think that they're going to focus more around like the original trilogy and like sequel trilogy, and then like they'll go back to that, because I think they just want to like do their own thing for right now and like focus on this stuff, and then go back eventually, like once people are hooked in. I think like if they would do like an anthology movie about Yoda, that'd be cool to see more about, because you don't really.
We may get that, actually.
Yeah,
there's been
maybe
rumors.
at some
I agree.
point. Like it'd be really cool to see something like that.
But I don't know. Does he count as prequel? Because he was in the original trilogy, though.
Yeah.
But to do a backstory, she's right. It would have to be a prequel era story, even though you're right. Like that has to go way past the prequels we've already seen.
It would be interesting. like they're coming out with that comic book with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
So excited for that.
Like, to me, that is the movie we're missing in the prequels. Like, I think that would be so cool. I mean, you'd have to do it with different actors. Or you could do it with Ewan McGregor, I guess.
It wouldn't be too hard. He was supposed to be 35.
Yeah.
Because it was 10 years later.
He's one of those people who looks pretty young for his age anyway.
Yeah, I think they could actually pull it off pretty well, theoretically.
Yeah. Or Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka. But I kind of would love to see an Ahsoka movie set in the Rebels era. Like she's
something
older.
in between would be amazing.
Or in between. Oh yeah, after like she would be the Jedi who abandoned the Order, and we kind of see what she does in between. Kind of like what the TV show that Lucas was working on, the live action show that he was working
Underworld.
on. The Underworld stuff. That she would be involved in that. That would be really interesting. In fact, you could probably center a show around her.
I would love to see anything Darth Maul related, like that Clone War story with Savage Opress, or where he went after the Emperor destroyed Savage Opress and what happened with Darth Maul after that. I would love to see a young Yoda, like Katie said. That would be amazing. And then, like you mentioned, Ultra, that they're doing the comics on a young Padawan Anakin and a more, mature Kenobi. So either one of those are good. I mean, I'm a huge Darth Maul guy, so that would be like if I was with Dave Filoni or the story group or whoever. Yeah. I would be like more Maul.
Origin story, maybe Origin
would be good. How did he get there? That would be good. Yeah. But
if you read the comics, you'd actually know a little bit of that. From his comics.
Yeah. I actually have.
Yeah,
that
no, I don't read.
He doesn't read, don't you remember? No, I think
I said if he did.
I think what they also, and Dave Filoni has mentioned there's nothing stopping them from making an animated movie. What was the other email that we had to read?
We had two more. I'm okay with saving Sean since it's already pretty late on your guys' end, and letting Johnny
wants to
Lisa.
Johnny wants to do. Now this, I just want to say beforehand, I don't think this was. I don't think this was written by a woman. There's something about it that does not read like something any woman would ever write, and I think no one is.
I wonder if you can spot what it is.
No one has admitted it to me, but I think this is one of my friends. Because why would anyone say this? Like, unless Johnny gets this kind of shit all the time. I know you get hate mail sometimes, but this is so like dramatic. They're just having fun. I don't think this is a serious jab at you, Johnny. But go ahead. You go ahead and read this, Lisa.
All right.
D. Lasso.
This email is from Lisa DeLasso. It says, "Dear Greatest Star Wars Podcast, Johnny Grasso is overrated." That's right. I said it. Overrated. I'm sorry, but Magnus is where it's at. With his biker dude look and manly aggressive voice, I'll take him any day over that pretty boy, Johnny Grasso. Love, Lisa DeLasso. P.S. Love the podcast. P.P.S. Does Johnny Grasso not understand that a second postscript is called a postscript, not a postscript script?
That's true, though.
P.P.P.S. Jared is cool too. And P.P.P.P.S. I received the check. Magnus, thanks.
I did not put anyone up to this, nor did I write it myself, although I should have, because then I would have not forgotten Jonah. What the fuck? Jonah was on that podcast.
That's true. Lisa's clearly a jerk.
Yeah, Lisa, if that even is your name. All right, now go ahead. I actually heard you address this email, I believe. In the last no, this is podcasting.
on episode 99 of Making Star Wars Now, This is Podcasting, I did address the PPPPS versus the PSSSS.
Which is funnier, by the way. I just want to defend Johnny. The PSS is so much funnier than PPS.
Yeah,
alliteration.
It is funnier. And when I learned that in probably 7th, 8th grade is when I legit learned it, and someone corrected me. And I laughed, and I remember saying it as the 14, 13-year-old me, nah, I think the other one's funnier. Because whenever you do it more than once, you're obviously trying to be funny or obnoxious.
I agree.
And either way, it works for entertainment.
Yeah. And also, the way Randy does it is so fucking hilarious.
Accents the P.
Oh my god, it's so fucking. It's like I wait for that. P.S.S. I can't even do it. I wish he's fucking amazing. He's amazing.
No. Edit out any attempts at anyone else doing it because it's failure.
Yeah, we're horrible, but still, like seriously,
Randy's the best.
If you do not listen to that podcast, there's something wrong with you. That is actually the greatest podcast. The name of our podcast is actually Irony.
It's aspirational.
No, it's just
hoping one day they fall into a black hole.
No. So the first part is Johnny Grasso is so overrated. I agree with you.
I do not.
I agree with him. The way my life has changed over the past few months is a little embarrassing and ridiculous, and I definitely and if you saw me on Periscope at New York Comic Con, I definitely don't like carry myself. I mean, like people were coming up to me and talking to me, and I'm looking at Jedi News, who is amazing. Like you said, they're the number 2 website that you go to after making Star Wars, and they were like ignoring them. And I'm like, do you guys see who's right there? I also agree with you that Magnus is where it's at. He is a handsome, sexy man, and I will never disagree with that. By the way,
he
or
she did not say that.
Yeah,
no, just said where it's at. It didn't say I was manly or okay. Did say
it's manly.
Aggressive voice. Just the voice.
That's where they're going with that tough, sexy guy.
Biker dude. Because I have the picture. I had the picture of me with the bandana. That's probably what that's all about.
Last but not least, she referred to me as a pretty boy. Now again, like you can take this email of insults, and all I see is the pretty boy, and I just smile inside my heart because I've said it a few times. Up until I was like in my late 20s, I was a morbidly obese man, and I changed my life. And when I see things like, you can call me every word in the book, but as long as pretty boy's in there, I walk away skipping and jumping, smiling.
Well, as I've, I don't know if I mentioned.
So it backfired, Lisa.
If that even is your name.
You fed my ego, not destroyed it.
Okay. Johnny Grasso is not overrated. I am not.
So overrated.
I am not. I don't even think my voice is manly. Aggressive, maybe. But biker dude, I don't have tattoos, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I'm the cleanest mother. I exercise every day, I eat healthy, I eat my vegetables, I drink water, I don't drink anything else. I don't even eat Skittles like Johnny Grasso, so no thank you. And Johnny Grasso,
as long as you work out, it's okay.
And Johnny Grasso is a pretty boy, and like Johnny, throughout my 20s, I was morbidly obese, more so than Johnny even. And even into my 30s, I was morbidly obese. And in the last 5 years, I have aggressively worked on losing weight.
It is a struggle. So that's why when someone, like I said, like you can call me, every name in the book. And when you end with pretty boy, I'm like, sweet.
And I have because of the way I was raised, like my mother was always like, oh no, do not let people give you things. Do not if anyone ever compliments me, I'm just like, I do not know what to do with that. I was never trained for this. I don't know what this means. I don't know. I'm the weirdest person. You cannot compliment me. It actually aggravates me when people compliment me. Katie.
Yeah, Katie, what do you think? Is Johnny Grasso overrated, pretty boy obnoxious? What's your take?
Yeah, I love how he injected pretty boy in there. Go ahead, Katie.
No, I like Johnny Grasso. I like the Now This is Podcasting stuff. I think it's funny.
But that's not really Johnny Grasso.
I know, but then, okay, well,
the words are, though. So it is kind of like...
But the real Johnny Grasso is perfect.
Aww.
That's true. Katie, I love you. Thank you.
That is true. Actually, when you think about it, Johnny... I've always considered myself something of a writer. And I don't think I could write what Johnny writes. And I've written a novel. And I don't think that I could write the things that Johnny writes. I think Johnny is a very skilled writer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I really
a humorist.
And for me, to compliment another writer, that I'm fucking, because all artists are petrified of someone being better than them. But I have no problem admitting that, at least on this, on this smaller scale, I haven't read your novel yet. You are a better humorist than I will ever be, and I couldn't even try it, And I think I'm a pretty funny guy, like in person, like when I'm hanging out with people. Like on the fly, I'm very quick, but on paper, I don't think I'm that funny. I think I'm much funnier in the moment. And that's me saying that. Like, I'm probably not that funny, and most people are like, God, he's so serious. He's so serious all the time.
Oh, actually, I want to bring up two things that happened like in the last 2 days.
Okay.
One person a while ago mentioned something and pretty much nailed it. And he said, it was after like my weight loss came up, and he said, "That's what it is, dude." He goes, "You're John Candy in the body of Brad Pitt now."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I would never call myself Brad Pitt, although John Candy was like my idol growing up.
Mine
like,
too,
I loved
yeah.
him. He was funny, dude. So when he said that, I was like, oh my God, because it's like literally you took that personality and that's who I emulated, like John Belushi, John Candy, all of these, like, I hate to say it, like corpulent role models, because that's who people loved and accepted. And I knew I looked like them, so I acted like them. And then all of a sudden, I got, a vegetarian menu and some weights, and then, whatever you see before you is what's before you. I would, like I said, I would never ever say, the compliments that people have been giving me lately. I would never say it about myself, but it does make sense that personality usually doesn't fit in that body. And I think that's where a lot of this is coming from, and why, even though I do think I'm overrated, why I'm getting a little more attention than I deserve, because it's kind of a unique combination. And this person, his name was Jeff, and I think he experienced a traumatic weight loss as well, because he reached out to me. I don't want to like give everything, because I think it was personal between me and him.
Understood.
But and what Jeff was saying was, a lot of that, and it's who I am, but it's not what people see.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for participating in this podcast. I actually think this ended up as a good podcast. It's just gonna be murder to fucking edit this. Uncle Owen,
the corpses of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are as dark as any. I feel like they're
with a great lightsaber comes great responsibility.
No, I thought you guys talked about the rice.
Yeah, the rice were crispying off there. Okay, man. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't want to completely dismiss what you said, Johnny, because I think you're right that it has grown, and I don't disagree with that. I just feel like it's not at the expense of children.
Yeah.
I feel like it's grown into something more like a Pixar film.
Definitely
where it's,
not
it's for,
the
it's for
expense of children.
Yeah, because
it's
Pixar has some
children.
dark shit going on right now.
Dude, Toy Story 3.
Oh
Toy
my
Story
God.
3. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, Jesus.
Everyone has seen
Dark.
it.
That's dark, man.
Yeah, very dark.
That moment when they're going to the fire is. You feel if you're a human being, you feel when you're watching that, because it's sad and you're scared for those characters, because they do a great job creating that world, and that's what's important, and a kid can watch it and they're going to be scared, but they're going to make it through, and an adult can watch it and they're going to feel emotional and they're going to watch it with a kid. And I think that if you look at sci-fi and you look at big budget franchises, stuff that is made for adults and not for everyone doesn't last.
Yeah, that's true.
The Batman movies are made for adults, and they have to get rebooted every 4 years.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that happen with Star Wars.
He's
can't
right.
sustain it forever because the audience will die.
They'll be like, whatever, Grandpa, like whatever. But they'll still be talking about Star Wars, though. They'll be like, okay, we're going to the fucking episode 97, okay? Just shut up, Johnny Grasso, Grandpa Grasso, whatever the fuck they call you. People always say that about Empire, though. It's darkest because it's darkest, like actually physically darkest. But Jedi is darker than Empire. I mean, it's pretty fucking dark, man. Luke finds out that he was trying to make out with his sister.
No, when you put it into that context, it's definitely the most disturbing of all the
Some
film.
shit right there, okay? And then at the end,
if this were a Greek tragedy, there would be no sequel trilogy because Luke would have gouged out his eyes and bled out.
And that thing I posted from YouTube, which was that scene that got cut out that's not on the DVDs because they don't want you to see that scene from Empire, where she is like all up in Luke's shit. Oh my God. She is so into him. She's just like, Luke, I want to be inside you. Like that's how it's that bad.
Nothing better than a dealer's
What do you think, Katie? Which one is the darkest movie? And you can say Phantom Menace if you want.
Oh yeah, definitely that one. No. No, probably Revenge of the Sith. I don't, because I mean, Anakin, he kills freaking children.
Does he though? We asked this question in the last podcast. Does he kill them? Do you ever see him kill the children?
Okay, you don't see it, but
propaganda.
It's, like, alluded to, but still.
The only person we have to go on is Obi-Wan, and he is a notorious
liar. Huh? Think about this, Kate. Now, think about this. Okay, he lies constantly. He's like a habitual liar. He just, he bends the truth whenever he needs it to, and whatever. But that's okay. That's when you grow up, you learn that you gotta lie sometimes. But then he says, "Oh, he killed." Maybe he just said that because he needed to convince himself. Like some people can lie enough that they begin to believe the lie they tell themselves.
Oh yeah, I had a friend like that in high school. That he would start a lie by convincing himself.
Yeah,
and it was fucking disturbing.
Habitual liars do that. They will first begin lying to themselves, then they begin to believe the lie, and then they can actually pass lie detector tests because they believe it. What's my drug of choice? Like Johnny and I together would be like, one of us would have to take the lead and one of us would just have to stand back because you can't have two people.
I would just watch, dude. I would just watch.
Well, no, I don't know. I kind of want to watch, but wait, what? What have you
got? Across the one where I posted the link, so it might have saved, so you might get a shot to check
or
it
he
out.
could just DM you the link to it, make your life easier. You're so lazy, Johnny.
No, I want her to read through everything. I got up today. I had orange juice. I got off the couch. She's got to read. She's got to read all that bullshit.
Skittles.
I'm gonna read everything.
And I do it a lot. Seems so sick to the hypocrite.
I mean, Ahsoka is a good character, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather her die a hero saving the Republic
It's not gonna happen.
than hide on Dagobah.
It's not going to happen.
It's possible.
Her journey has already been written, and it was written in the Clone Wars. She is somebody who walks away from an unwinnable situation. She's already proven it, and as an adult, she would be more likely to do that than stand and fight and die for nothing. And that's why Ahsoka will live.
No, die a hero, not nothing.
She's
die
not.
a hero.
She's a grown woman. She's not a fucking idealistic child anymore. She's not gonna die a hero. She's gonna walk away and live her life out.
Running their foreign trails.
I'm old school. Like I grew up on obviously Star Wars and chivalry. So I think dying nobly for a cause is something,
Stupid.
and I think that's where they're pushing Ahsoka because they put her right in the rebellion.
But we are an elite race of old.
They've set themselves up with a situation that means Ahsoka is involved in the rebellion, and she is involved with Bail Organa, but she can't be too fucking important. Or why is Leia not really familiar with the Force? Why can she not even understand it in Return of the Jedi when she's talking to Luke? She's never seen somebody swing a lightsaber before Obi-Wan. It's
So basically, they all have to go away before we get to that point, even earlier than that. Yeah,
before Leia gets involved.
That's true.
Really.
That.
And
I wonder.
I think, or just not be too important.
Yeah.
She's recruiting these guys in Lothal, but maybe they're not that big of players yet. And I don't disagree. I think for me, it's confirmation bias. I know I want Ahsoka to live, so I'm trying to figure out ways for it to work. And I think that I'm with Magnus that there's some ways around it, but I think bottom line, Johnny, I do think that's the way they're going to go.
But I actually want her to die. I'm actually with Johnny in some respects. I actually want her to die because I think it makes it more meaningful, her arc. But I don't think that Filoni's going to do it.
The stoner's junk isn't free. Are you happy? I am mad.
I don't know.
Which one of us is smarter, Katie? Tell us.
God. You're both equally smart.
No!
Content and fully aware. Money status, nothing to me. 'Cause your life's empty and bare.
It was
Well, I'm
outstanding.
sorry I missed that. And I'm sorry that won't make the podcast.
I'm not sorry. I won't make the podcast.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah!